Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hoes and players, manginas and pussy beggars, thugs and nice guys. Welcome. Today I am going to introduce you to a new term to describe women. But not just any women, a certain kind of woman. The kind of woman that defends bad women. The type of woman that aimlessly or purposefully defends a hoe of a woman for any number of reasons. This type of woman will defend a hoe that is being slated by other people that don't like her. So for example, if a hoe does one of her fuckery antics, such as commits adultery, or has lots of sexual partners, or is a bad baby mother, or any other kind of shit like that, that by default should usually give a bad interpretation of women, this type of woman will defend her. She will usually defend her by saying the following kinds of statements. Oh, but men do it all the time and they get away with it. Or, oh, but her man cheated on her. Or, oh well, we don't know her, so we can't judge. When you hear these kind of phrases, as a means of verbal defense in response to a hoe getting slated, you are dealing with a fairy hoe mother. Just like the word fairy godmother, in theory, but by no means anything holy or good. Yes. She is a woman that for some reason sees fit to defend a badly behaved woman and will pretty much engage in many heated debates in person or the internet like she is a paid Secret Service agent and the hoe is the president. Sometimes she may be one of a few others like her in a mostly male dominated presence and says she prefers having male friends over female friends. This is because most ranks of girls in general don't like her for all manner of reasons, if you know what I mean. She will find all manner of ridiculous angles to break down your argument, possibly by using Bible text, or bringing up celebrity stories of successful hoes, or will say something like, everyone is different. She may even throw a complete curveball at you, and flip the script completely, and use herself as a sacrifice, and mention something bad about herself, to justify this hoe's existence and behaviour. For example, she may say that she used to be a bad girl, and so on. When she does this, it's very likely that someone in her audience listening to her spew this nonsense actually knows something bad about her, or has her on film, or something like that. At every available opportunity, she will always try to belittle people that speak against hoes. And she loves the concept of feminism, even though she herself doesn't fully understand what feminism is, the actual background of it and the history of it and so on and so forth. Because for her, she only cares about defending hoes, badly behaved women. And even more than that, is most likely to be even more concerned about claiming back innocence lost during her previous years as a hoe. In other words, this girl would really love to turn the clock back because she's made some bad choices. But that's nothing, because we've all made bad choices and mistakes, haven't we? Right? But you see, Fairy Hoe Mothers tend to be reformed skets. And if you're not from Britain, what I mean when I say reformed skets is a woman that has been a bit of a loose whore in her previous years. And she's trying to fix up, thinking that if she goes down to say 5 dicks a week instead of 10 or 20, she'll be more classy and she'll believe that she deserves more respect from other people. Basically, she wants to turn it around and change her ways. And she doesn't want to be a hoe no more. She doesn't want to be a hoe no more. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it as I don't want to be a player no more, does it? But anyway, she's most likely, very possibly, went down the slippery slope of being a hoe and caught the short end of the stick. And unfortunately, to her demise, many men knew about her in her heyday as a hoe. She may even look good now, which also makes many a pussy beggar and mangina pay her more attention when she speaks. But the truth about her past makes all of her nice pictures on Facebook tarnished, and her reputation in whatever circle it is that know her as a decent girl compromised. When many men say, oh, Jerome used to beat that back in the day when she was going out with Tyrone and, you know, she had a man when my brethren was linking it and XYZ and all that kind of shit. You see, The Fairy Hoe Mother has many motives for defending hoes, but one of the most likely is that she has a deep, dark secret about herself, and she don't want that shit to come out, and she also knows that it could come out, such as a sex video and stuff like that. So now she's becoming more understanding of a hoe and a hoe's predicament, and now wants to tell you to shut the fuck up about hoes, because she knows that she is going to get the same flack and be in the same hell that hoes live in. And she's trying her best to dodge the bullet and dodge being told that she's a hoe, but she can't escape it because she knows back in the day she was probably a hoe.
A big fucking hoe.
I'm gonna keep saying it. I ain't gonna stop. She's doing this also because she wants other people to see that she can defend hoes, so that other women like her, other hoes, can maybe see her efforts that she uses to defend people, so that they can offer her assistance in future debates with other people when they're indeed calling her a hoe.
A big fucking hoe.
You see, some fairy hoe mothers have by far a much more terrible past than others by comparison. Some have very little of a past, but are still ashamed of something, even if it's very minute. Personally, if they just shut the fuck up, they'd be cool. But like I said, the Fairy Hoe Mother always wants to get involved in debates and open her mouth when really she should just keep stum. Now, make no mistake about these Fairy Hoe Mothers. Just like manginas, they're fucking everywhere. Fairy Hoe Mothers are everywhere. They're in your families. They're in your friend circle. They're on your friends list on Facebook. It could even be your girlfriend, believe it or not. Trust me, they're everywhere you go. Also, the past of a Fairy Hoe Mother is subjective and not the main issue, because it could actually be something minor, as I explained, but a major thing to them. But the main point is they offer defense and camouflage and a social barracks for hoes that have left the battlefield from an array of rightfully deserved insults from people like you and me that despise hoes and their activities. A Fairy Hoe Mother feeds on mostly manginas as the long-serving, obedient lackeys, usually guys that are in the friend zone. And the more short-term but also very obedient lackeys, I call them grunts, are the pussy beggars. You see, with the pussy beggars, they defend these Fairy Hoe Mothers until they realise that they're never going to get laid by the Fairy Hoe Mother, because most pussy beggars have very little decorum or a discreet way or even skill of dealing with women like this. That's also why they're pussy beggars in the first place. And Fairy Hoe Mother needs as less people knowing her business as possible, which is why a pussy beggar and a Fairy Hoe Mother makes the biggest and entertaining exposure stories about each other, because the pussy beggar is frustrated that he didn't get laid, but the Fairy Hoe Mother is mad that she even entertained a pussy beggar in the first place, and for the wrong reason, and got her name tarnished for nothing. So now both of them hate each other's guts, and none of them got any sex out of it. So that was a meaningless partnership, which makes sense in terms of one of the videos I explained earlier called The Friend Zone. It seems to me that the Fairy Hoe Mother never learns, and always has an overdeveloped sense of concern for unassociated strangers that are hoes. She tends to be outspoken, and sometimes very articulate, or at least pretends to be, likely to make herself sound intelligent, but make no mistake, now even the most uneducated man can call her out and define her by name. Say it with me now. Fairy Hoe Mother. Use this term as freely as possible to any woman that defends a hoe, so that they stop, as calling them just a simple hoe is too predictable. If you are one of these people, Heavenly Truth, aka Hard Talk, is here, and I can see the bitch in you. Once again, Fairy Hoe Mother. We must search and destroy the resistance, and to do this you must simply ignore them. Don't engage with debate with them, just call them a Fairy Hoe Mother and leave it at that. Anyone that's made the mistake of being one should resist the urge to defend hoes. If you're listening to this video, You are the resistance.